Hello. Usually I talk about discipline on this channel, like how to make more money or how to go from really skinny to a decent physique. But today I have a message I really want to talk about even and really want to say and get out there even if I'm really tired today. Like I'm kind of low energy, but I just thought I'd record this for you. If you're a parent right now or you plan to be a parent in the future, I'm begging you to watch this video until the end, okay? Please watch this video until the end. However, if you don't want to be responsible for any child right now or in the future, then this video won't be of much value to you. It'll just be an entertaining story time, which is basically a waste of time lah. So feel free to click off now. This is part of a thumbnails hand-drawn by Jay series that I have on this channel where I don't mind telling you a little bit of personal details about my life in hopes it helps you. Obviously, there's gonna be boundaries and stuff, but quite frankly, I've seen so much more stuff that most people that matters that other people would think are really personal. I've just seen, like, I'm fine with saying because I've just seen more in my life than that. So it's like, whatever, I'm comfortable with it. This video is honestly more of for the future parents of my generation, like the future fathers and mothers, than just young men as how it usually is. Actually, I think I'll make this video a little bit more focused on mothers since my entire channel is about raising guys like me to become good fathers. So yeah, I could focus on mothers a bit and also about the raising to be good fathers part. I feel that this is the case for a lot of fathers. Like that's just get lazy as they grow up. How to say? I don't think it's right to publicly say that your dad is a failure if you're still alive and you live in his house and he gave me this phone to record this video on. Everything growing up and stuff like that. It's not, if you're still alive, it's not right to call your dad a failure. But I want to think of my dad as someone I'm proud of, but there's kind of a lot of resistance to me for that. The reason I even started weightlifting in the first place, obviously that was a few factors, but the main reason back then was literally because, okay, if you want to fight back against your dad, you'd learn like kickboxing and shit like that, right? And the concept of fighting with your dad physically is kind of stupid, but in like 13, 14-year-old me's brain, like weightlifting and getting strong was like the way to fight back against my dad. And I thought of it as that, and I imagine how I would punch him or like shove the chair at him if he tried to. Yeah. Okay, now let me go to the mother's part. I think I'll go back to father a little bit, but this may be boring, but it'll get interesting quick, okay? Yeah, this is assuming you want to be a mother who wants to show up the best for children while also being happy yourself. In an idealistic example, what do I wish my mother would have done? This is gonna be long, but it's worth it, please trust me. First, I would say is definitely maintain her physical health, like jogging, doing the light band stretches and lifting weights like once every 2 weeks to maintain your physical health, because your muscles degrade when you're 40 plus, so you want to keep them up. Like, is it just me, or at least for Asians, nobody exercises when they're older? Like, holy, be active, bro. It will genuinely help you. Not just you, but it'll help you show up for your kid as well. And it's just not nice when you're older and you have to complain about back, and every freaking day, it's like back pain or like stomach pain or like head pain. And if you sit down for too long, you get ass pain, and your kid has to hear all that. And it's not even because, it's because you didn't maintain your physical health. Like, I was gonna say improve your mental health as well, but honestly that's too much of a stretch, because like, who is going to give you good mental health advice on the internet? There's like Hamza, Jack Piggott, and me, and that's kind of it. there's nobody really giving good mental health advice on the internet. But yeah, your physical health should really be a priority, okay? Especially more importantly so when you grow older. As this is kind of sad. I was gonna say something, but some things are just too much information, okay? You don't want to be the person who just like one day falls down from the stairs and they fucking die from that because they have. Okay, never mind. Okay, so number one is maintain your physical health. You have time for it. You're just fucking lazy if you don't. If you have time to go on Facebook, you have time to maintain your physical health. Like lift weights for 45 minutes once every 2 weeks, okay? The second might be a little bit controversial, but the mother working a job is going to take away from their child. Two mothers, both with equal, let's say in the autistic retarded sense, both with equal motherhood skill, but one of them is working a dead end 9 to 5 job and the other has the dad settling a bill so she can do a fun, cute hobbies. Like the former's child is going to be less happy, and that's the objective truth. And if you're offended by that, I implore you to use your brain. Of course, there's nuances, like don't spend 24/7 with your child and have no hobbies because that'll actually make it worse, right? Optimally, the dad has a business and the mom also enjoys working in it. And if you're a mother and you have to work to death to make ends meet, okay, sure. Like if you have to sacrifice, if you're like I say, if you're a mother and you have to work like this 9 to 5 job to make ends meet, and you're gonna go homeless if you don't, then like okay, sure, I understand. And if you have a job like a teacher that can actually contribute to your well-being, like, and you actually like, if you have a dream job, then sure, like you should be allowed to go ahead with it. But what I don't like is that so many women are pushed in the workplace and being sold this idealized idea of a job that they won't like and will take away from their well-being, and will just and that's the reason the minimum wage hasn't really gone up, because there's an increased supply of labor. And even if it's a stay-at-home job where the mom earns commissions and stuff and she doesn't have to be at the computer 8 hours a day, it still really, really, really takes away from the peace at home. And when mom is stressed, like everything is just worse lah, right? And I've really seen how the mom needing to make a time commitment to something she wouldn't do for free really takes away from the quality of the family and how happy everyone is. And her just having to do something, she wouldn't really do for free. Like I would make these YouTube videos for free. Okay, let's say they're gonna make me money as well, but I would do these YouTube videos for free. And please don't twist my words. You understand with nuance what I'm trying to say here. And yeah, if you're a teacher and you have to work this job to make ends meet, okay, sure, but you're going to have to accept the consequences that, and just try to do your best anyway. Also make sure to use your brain, because of course she's gonna have hobbies and trips and fun and shit like I said, but I'm specifically talking about a 5 day a week, 8 hour a day commitment to an endeavor she wouldn't do for free, or she wouldn't do just because for the fun of it and it contributes to other people. You get what I mean? Like I make thousands from these videos, but I would record these videos for free. Now I really think there should be one parent taking care of the child most of the time. And biologically, men are happier sacrificing time away from their houses, like sacrificing time away from their house to provide for their family. Biologically, they are happier doing that than women would be. And of course, the father needs to be there for guidance and to help grow the son. But for most of the time, the mother is better suited but at least biologically, the mother is, I'm not sure about nowadays at this point, but the mother is better suited to take care of the child most of the time. Of course, nowadays the world is extremely fucked up, and now both parents are working these dead-end jobs and still can't afford a home, because according to the Epstein propaganda, another person in the family having to sit in an office 8 hours a day is empowerment. We should all support this. It's empowerment, guys. We should all support that. And loving your child more is actually racist and sexist and misogynist. And you shouldn't love your child, by the way. Don't love your child, because that way the Epstein class won't be able to make more money. And last point before I get to my actual childhood. A lot of people call me someone pushing traditional masculinity, and honestly I disagree. The traditional way is broken, and that's why there was a push away from it in the first place. I'd say my father is a traditionally masculine provider man, and that's great. The family gets provided for, but I'm telling you, you're gonna need more than that. Yeah, like sure, the moon's not gonna be made of honey 30 years in a relationship, but you as a father, you're going to have to provide for the family and learn to keep up the romance as well. I'm telling you, your kids will grow up so much healthier and happier when they can tell that the mother and father still love each other. They can sense that their parents still love each other. That's something that I hope to figure out and be able to teach you someday, because this is one of the major things that's really lacking in the world. I really believe that. You need to be a man who is capable of providing for your family and also keeping up the romance with your wife. Okay. I wrote down something here that I wanted to mention. So I'll just read off this. I remember a short of someone saying, "I have no memories of my father playing with me when I was a child." And the short said like that made me feel really sad or something. And honestly, that kind of made me feel kind of sad as well. Like I do have a few memories, but less than I can count on my hand. Like less memories of me playing with my mother than I can count on my hand. Like I had the worst combination of being sheltered at home while not going outside much, and my parent who was at home working a job. So like you're not really allowed to go outside because like scared and stuff. And your mom's also at home working a job, and she can't how to say play with you or like help you grow up, or like you know she can't really spend time with you. You get what I mean? At least if you go outside and get hurt, that's like development for you. That's like character development when you're 7 years old, right? I was kind of just pacified with a screen instead. This is so fucking normal nowadays, and it pisses me off that the babies that are so young, they literally need the special white booster seat in the restaurant to eat, right? And their parents bring like the baby utensils with the container and all that. I see them literally watching like some Cocomelon type shit in the restaurant, and do you know how much this fucks up the kid? It is not innocent to give them kid content. Please do not give your kids a screen. Like, if there was one thing that I would change about my childhood, it would be that I wish I didn't get access to a screen. Like, man to man, like, or man to woman, like heart to heart right now, please do not give your kid a screen until they're at least like 15 years old. I do not care if they're 11 years old and they come to you saying, "Wait, I want TikTok, I want a phone and I want TikTok because the other kids in school are bullying me because I don't know the TikTok dance where we suck each other's dick." Like, I don't care if they say that. Please do not give your kids a screen until they're at least 15 years old. I think your kids, especially when they're 5 years old or something, when they cry or something, they ask you for attention, they're doing it for a reason, and you shouldn't just pacify them with a screen. And if you do so, they'll grow up to be quite a fucked up child, or not really healthy as they should have been. You do not know how much this harms the kid. It is not innocent, okay? It is ruining the kid's attention span, which leads to more unhappiness in their life. I've already been kind of fucked up, but this is why I preach meditation so much. And there's this app that's like free. It's an organization, no ads, and they depend on donations. I use the app. It's called Medito, and basically, meditation is the reverse of scrolling for your attention span. And there's not one area of life that meditation doesn't help you in, because especially for me, my attention span was so fucked up when I was a kid, and genuinely not meditating consistently has caused me so much pain in my life that you'll see later down this series if you choose to watch it. So you can go subscribe. So the videos later down in the series will show up in your subscription feed. And many people are normal, but for me, I just become a fucking spur when I don't meditate every day for at least like 20 minutes. Like my attention span was so fucked up as a child. I genuinely need the meditation. Almost all the regrets that I have about my early life come from screens. Okay, about my early life, like I feel that I was fucked up from the start. Genuinely, I remember like wait. Yeah, am I recording? As early as like kindergarten, my favorite song was like "Me and My Broken Heart" or something, something like that. And in kindergarten, I literally got bullied by two little girls, bro. And one of them was my friend, but she was closer friends to this other girl than she was with me. And they would literally like take my pen. You know how you sit with two other people, like a table's a tree, right? And I was sitting with two other girls, and there's a little basket with stationery inside, and they literally wouldn't let me have a pen. Wait, that's kind of funny. They wouldn't let me have a pen. Oh, not pen. We were using pencils back then, and yeah, it was. And I was too much of a pussy to say anything, because probably the microplastics fucked up my testosterone or something. And yeah, it wasn't until 3 months later that, or something like halfway through the year, that the teacher was like, "Hey, why doesn't he have a pen?" And she noticed, and she moved me to another table. And bro, my kindergarten was so fucked up. There was this one kid who would just like chase me around the whole time, like after school, while I was waiting to get picked up lah. Or genuinely, this kid would get me in the principal's office so much. If I could control 6-year-old me back then, I would genuinely give this Ashton kid one left hook to the face, and like brutally knock him, and send him to the hospital and disfigure him for life. Okay, I think that's a bit too much information, but okay, I'm not sure the order of events here, but my screen addiction got so bad that eventually, no matter how busy she was, she had to intervene eventually, and it got to the point that my iPad was permanently kept. And my mom isn't gonna attend to me unless I intentionally injure myself or some shit, right? Or something throughout. And like throughout my childhood, I felt that my parents weren't available. And this was, and one time, yeah, eventually my mom had to take away my screens, right? And I was already so fucking addicted to them. And my parents arguing, like, at the time also didn't help. And I remember that I'm not sure if she actually meant it, but one time like my mom was talking about like some divorce type shit, and I remember having to beg my mom to stick together with my dad. And that was kind of, I guess it was a cycle of most of the time my parents weren't available because of work. I wrote this here. And when they were, my child dopamine sensors would prefer the screen rather than doing some new task with them. And so they would think that I don't really want to do anything with them at all. And they would be more unavailable. And this is why screens are so bad. It's just the highest dopamine option for a child's brain. And when I moved, and then after they took away the iPad, and when they took away the iPad and like all the arguments were going on, and I would hear like "Chi Pai Lan Chao Sei Chao Lan" screamed daily. I remember wanting to actually kill myself, and I wrote a suicide note that I hid somewhere for my parents to find later, and I actually did make the attempt. That was my first suicide attempt, and it didn't work. Like, how a lot of people just think of suicide and they say like, "Oh, I'm gonna kill myself now. This is so sad." Like, I actually did go ahead and try to kill myself. Like, I actually went forward with the attempt, and I actually did do the attempt, but it didn't really work. I won't elaborate further. It just didn't work. And later on, my parents found a suicide note and they confronted me about it. And okay, I don't really have memories from this. Like, I was like 10 years old or something like at that point. And yeah, later on, moved to the laptop where I found MG Master of videos, and I would get addicted to Diep.io then. First it was Angry Birds and Talking Tom, and now it's Diep.io. And we also had a TV where I used to watch a lot of videos, but I don't really use it anymore. It's still there, but I don't use it anymore. I found Diep.io, and I remember that this is the time where our family would take a few trips to Europe, and I would literally just play Diep.io most of the time we were inside. And literally, I would want to finish my game of Diep.io before they would go out, and that's genuinely so fucking dumb. I missed out on so many memories because like I would just I would just like want to play Diep.io on the laptop that my mom had to bring, by the way, to the trip because she needed to work while she was on the trip. Like genuinely, if you're literally like 50 plus years old as a father and you're still at the point where your mom has to work, like, and my father doesn't have a dead end job, like he has a business. If you're literally at that point where your wife still has to work while on the trip, that's like I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want that for you and for myself. Okay, but yeah, I would play Diep.io while I'm out inside, and on the outside, while outside, because earlier on my dad had introduced me to Pokemon Go. He obviously didn't expect me to be so addicted to it, but inside the hotel I would play Diep.io, and outside I would play Pokemon Go and try to catch the regional Pokemon or some shit and try to like level up there. So I wouldn't even like really enjoy the local attractions, and I don't have many memories of Europe from that time because of it. And that's kind of sad. Holy shit. I was playing like Pokemon Go so much during the holiday trips that I genuinely have very few memories of Europe, even though I spent like in total over a month there. Yeah. And the worst part is that I don't even remember all the games of Diep.io or all the hours spent on Pokemon Go that I played. I guess that's part of why I'm so against video games. Like you genuinely don't remember, you don't make memories from playing games unless you're playing them like very infrequently with your friends, and then it's like a special night once every 2 months, and then that's a memory. But if you're playing them alone, or yeah, if you're playing a game such as like Pokemon Go or some shit, you just won't remember a lot of it, and it'll just eat up from what's going on in your life currently. It's just a distraction from the beauty in the present moment, basically. And yeah, I think that's all I'll mention about the games addiction that I have, that I had. I guess I think I was born with a very addictive personality. Like right now, I'm addicted to self improvement and making these videos. I guess some things never change. Yeah, I have a very addictive personality, and when I find something, I can really obsess over it, and that's how I managed to grow this YouTube channel, I guess. But yeah. I wrote a question prompt in the script. Like usually I don't script my videos this much anymore, but I wrote here, how do you feel about your parents while you were growing up? Yeah, like I said, I hope that you are able to grow up into parents who you can be there for a child, and your child is able to say that you were there for them, and your child is able to say like, when I grow up I want to be just like him. I wouldn't I'm not able to say that I would want to be just like my dad when I grow up, and I wouldn't really say that he was there for me. Like one of my earliest memories is literally we had a sort of maid back then who would like play with me because my mom wasn't really there to do so, or wasn't really like wasn't really available to do so, right? So this was back then. You still had the phones, you know, the little like keypad phones, so you still had to like key in the digit on the phone, right? But it was wireless, so you could take it upstairs. And I remember being on a phone call with my dad, and he was saying something like, I was at work, so that's why I can't be with you right now. And that's literally one of the earliest memories I have from childhood. I don't remember, I only have like one or two memories earlier than that, I think. Okay, I don't think there's much more that I need to elaborate on. I guess the gist is just that I felt very disconnected from my family, even eventually with my sister. Growing up, I felt very disconnected from my family. I don't think there's much more personal stuff that I should say, even though this prompt that how do you feel about your parents growing up was supposed to be quite long. My mama and I are kind of like oil and water in a way. Like even my dad was the one to say it like that. I hope that when you grow up, you become a father, and when your kid grows up as well, he's able to say that you you were there for him, and he feels really loved by you, and he's really grateful that you taught him, that you were there to teach him like a lot of manual skills, like all the dad meta knowledge and all that. I really hope that you grow up to be such a strong, ambitious man that you're able to provide for your family, keep the romance with your wife, and you're also able to be there for your children and see them grow up. And do the cute little healthy health maxing habits with them. Like, okay, obviously I made some mistakes like working for money in year 11, but if I could mind control a teenage guy right now, which most of my viewers, I'd make him focus on social skills and fitness in his schooling years and money in his 20s, because you can absolutely become a millionaire in your 20s. You just have to fucking lock in and on the right business model that you're passionate about. You can absolutely become a millionaire in your 20s. And I'd make him, and once he's got money in his 20s, right, I'd make him focus on the health maxing stuff only in his 30s and beyond. Because, you see a lot of these teenagers preaching a lot of the health maxing stuff, like make the money first, okay? Because you're gonna have to do so one day. And you don't want it to be when you've already got a family. You don't want to be like my parents, where they still have to keep focusing on money when they've already got children. Okay, I understand that opportunities are much greater now, and it was way harder to become a millionaire in your 20s in my parents' time than it is now. But now that's so much easier. You should honor your parents' sacrifice, and you should vow to be a better parent than your parents were. Okay. Yeah, because like you're gonna have to make the money one day, right? So you don't want that to be when you've already got a family. I wrote that down here as a very important point. I haven't like bold. You can do the health maxing stuff that the teenagers are preaching for you to do now. You can do it when you've already got your family, and that actually be better, right? Go meditate and cardio for 2 hours with your sons and daughters or some shit. Because like I really believe that's the right order of way to do things for a teenage guy. Because nowadays it isn't unrealistic at all to become a millionaire in your 20s from scratch, especially if you follow this actual self-improvement path, you do all the good habits, and you build yourself a good foundation. Yeah, I really wish I've got to the point where I am now with my parents. But I think like I guess like some people from my high school also helped me with it. Like I remember a girl said something to me like there's no point really arguing with your parents, and that stuck with me like even until now. There's really no point arguing with your parents. And there's this Malay saying that roughly translates to like scissors cannot cut water, where even if there's a lot of rips between you're like water, and you always like reconnect with each other again. So, and even if you cut off your parents, like it's not a good life when you cut off your parents, even if they did a lot of bad things to you, you get what I mean? And there's a lot of families worse than mine where their parents aren't even together, or there's like beatings and abuse and some shit. One thing I respect about my dad is he never really beat my mom. And yeah, I think that's something you should do as well. You shouldn't randomly go around beating your wife or even your kids. Yeah, I was originally gonna say a lot more. Like there's quite a bit here, but I think I'm gonna end it here. Sorry, this video wasn't as coherent as normal, but I think this was a message that I really wanted to say, and that's the point of this whole YouTube channel. when you're a parent in the future, when you're a parent in the future, and when I hope that when your kid grows up, he's able to say that he has many fun memories with the both of you together. Like the family unit has been so fucked, man. Like they've made men weak with like all the lust and all the softcore porn that's around this, and all this messaging of you're already good enough as you are. Of course, there's got to be some level of self acceptance, but a lot of men, especially all the estrogenics and shit, they are like lesser men. We're all lesser men than we should have been, and there's so much like messaging to make women more promiscuous and just degrade themselves. There's messaging for men and women to degrade themselves, and the current narrative of the world is for men and women to degrade themselves spiritually, physically, and mentally. And I guess this is my war. This is something I want to fight against, and this is something I see as worth fighting against and worth dedicating my life to fighting against, and helping people stay away from degeneracy and helping them build stronger family units where they're truly happy. Yeah. Man, I don't know how to feel about this video. I feel like I might have said a lot of things that were wrong or dishonoring for my family, but even though this video was quite scripted because I wanted to make sure I was saying the right thing, I feel like I went off the cuff a lot of times and just brought up a lot of stuff that's I guess been in the back of my mind. Yeah, I think I'll end it there. You and I, let's stay compassionate, stay sexy as well, and we'll discover just how many people will inspire.